All right, welcome. Thanks for coming. My name's Jay Gould. I'm a professor of photography here at MICA, so welcome. I'm also the first artist in residence at the Johns Hopkins Extreme Materials Institute, the lab with the coolest name there. I'm just going to share some work tonight and some collaborations that I've done, so you can hit it. So I face a common concern as an artist who works with a precise topic like science, that my work needs to act like a chart, to be really perfectly articulate, or, here it comes, clear, distinct, and precise. And while I appreciate the value of these terms in regards to a study, I often wonder if they're the best words we want to use if we really want to appreciate the topic of science, or if there's something really fundamentally interesting in its mystery. We're commonly asked to suspend our disbelief and picture scenarios that defy common sense, especially when things are requisitely beyond our means to observe. And I think that we often look to science for the same reason we look to art, not for cold calculation, but for a story, something amazing, and a new mystery for our minds to unravel. And I really think that photography is incredibly adept at communicating more than just data to a viewer, but a shared experience and a story. One of my heroes is Berenice Abbott, who was one of the first photographers to really try to work with labs as a collaborator, not as a researcher. And she wrote a manifesto in 1939 in this quote: "We live in a world made by science. There needs to be a friendly interpreter between science and the layman. I believe photography can be the spokesman, as no other expression can be." And this has been really an important thing for me. I often take that manifesto and paste it in the front of a new sketchbook whenever I get it. But she really, demonstrated that science could be beautiful. We already knew it was, but she presented it to the world that way and created a strong sense of fascination and demonstrated the weirdness, which is a lot of what a lot of us look to when we look towards research and things like that. So a lot of my projects in the past have dealt with science as a topic, also exploration, curiosity, paradoxes. But I'd not really worked with scientists as part of my practice, and Abbott and others really encouraged me to try out that trajectory and challenge myself. And so I've started doing that pretty frequently in my practice. Step one of collaborations is usually create an excuse to meet as many people as I can, often through the execution of elaborate portraiture, to create a shared experience. And then this sort of recognition that I can't work with everybody, I don't have enough time or enough brains. And so, vetting these researchers and finding out who I think would be a good collaborator and whose research fits in with maybe some of my ideas that are currently going on. So I'm looking out for analogies at all times, things that will bring it a little bit closer to the reality that I'm familiar with. These are MEMS devices. They're like miniature factories on a chip that build out a lot of the technology that we find in almost everything we use now. And I decided that they're a lot like a pizza, that you start with a base chip and you build it up layer by layer, adding in functionality. It goes through a chemical process and then it's diced and parsed out to a variety of devices. And we took this piece and we hung it in the lab. It's a permanent structure there as tours for students, because that was something they're very interested in, but it totally backfired and kids just think they're getting pizza. So lesson learned, don't use food. My analogies get a little out of control sometimes. I want to interrogate the nervous system. This is what Dr. Mark DeCoster said to me one night late in his office while we're talking about his really unique cancer research. And I was really taken aback that talking like that was the norm amongst a lot of these researchers who were really looking for ways to understand and defeat cancer. And maybe it was the late nights or the hum of the machines, but I'd started to think of these researchers as sort of modern film noir detectives who were battling this villain who, like in the movies, was really characteristically cruel, ambivalent, and strange. And so I really thinking them as detectives, using these real researchers, amplifying them, obviously with harsh lighting and dramatic compositions. But that what they're really fighting is every bit as formidable as any villain in a movie, and more so, and paying tribute to the way that they work and the ideas that they're doing. And I'm so happy that they went on board with it. they teach me a lot about what we're looking at a small level and a big level. And I work really hard not to just appropriate their imagery. It has a really specific purpose. It's beautiful, but it doesn't really communicate. They don't need me to do that. And so I take the stories they give me and try to translate them into forms of my own, things that will generate a different interest, and try to bring their research to newer audiences and hopefully spread wonder and invite audiences to explore the research more on their own. So thank you very much.